Hello, hi everybody. Colleen here with Couture, coming in with a fun project tonight. Working with ink again. Seem to be on an ink theme. Just gonna go ahead and get my iPad going and then we will get started. Just taking a second to catch up here. Come on iPad, let's go. Oh my goodness. It's doing the circle, 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 circle. Let's see. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. Let's get this on. Open. Says me. And we're going to share it. And then we will get started. Woohoo! Okay. Alrighty. So hello, and welcome to the replay. If you're watching replay, hello Rhonda. Tonight, sorry for my head right in the camera there. Tonight we're gonna do an ink project on canvas. Yay! So I have my canvas, and actually in hindsight, I think I probably should have ironed it, huh? It's a little wrinkly, but that's okay because once I get the design on here, I'm gonna iron it to heat set it. So I'm going to be putting Santa's head on here. Oh, get off of there. This is our amazing, it's a very large transfer. Sorry, I'm like smacking it into the camera. It's called Joyful Christmas, and it's got Santa has 2 layers and Joyful Christmas down here. And I'm actually opening this for the very first time. So we're going to do this from beginning to end together, okay? We're going to ink, not going to do it in layers. I'm actually just going to use the top layer for the pillow because it looks super cute. I've seen it done. I love it, and I had to have one for myself. Because I think it would look so cute on my couch for the holidays. So, here is, and I like how we've got the little guide. I forget what these are called. These little markers. Hello, Donna. The little markers here that help you to line up. I don't know if you can see that. I'll hold it up a little bit. So when you are doing your layers, it helps. It's like your little guide marker here. And also what they have on here, which is pretty fantastic, is it tells you right here at the bottom, this is layer 1, this is layer 2. So no guessing work at all. Everything is done for you, ready to go. All that we need to do, let me just grab my scissors. All that we need to do is cut right along this handy little line, and I'm just going to cut out the top layer, and that's all that I'm actually going to use in this project. I might try to fit Joyful Christmas on here too, I'm thinking, but I'm going to see how it goes. So all that I'm doing is just cutting right along the lines that are given, and then we will get ready to go. So how is everyone tonight on this fine Monday? I cannot believe that Thanksgiving is next week already. I feel like I blinked and October is gone. Where did it go? It just went so fast. Okay, so now we have that cut out. We're going to label on the back, right, like we always do. So I'm going to say Santa. And I forgot, all right, this is layer 2. Layer number 2. Okay, so we've got that labeled so that way we know, especially because the 2 pieces of Santa's head both kind of look are the same size, so it's good to just have them labeled. I'm going to slide this off for a second, let that dry, the black marker dry on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert. This is and you can see I've used it quite a bit. It's got stains on here from my different ink projects, but we're going to need to tuck this into our pillow so that it doesn't bleed through, right? So here's something that I kind of try to do. It doesn't always work, but I kind of fold it, slide it in, kind of center it a little bit, and then let go. And it seems to work pretty good. Just get the corner up there. Yeah, that actually worked very well that time. Sometimes it works, sometimes I struggle with it a little bit, but It goes in there, and I like it because our mats, and you can totally use cardboard. You do not have to use our mats, but I'll tell you why I like our mats, because they're sticky. And so it's gonna hold your fabric in place. And remember how I was mentioning earlier how wrinkled my pillow was? Well, I can stretch all that out. It's sticking to the inside, and it's kind of smoothing away those lines a bit, so that when I put Santa on here, it's gonna look nice. Okay, now we should be good to go. Just trying to, I might even grab my squeegee maybe and just smooth some of this out. Let's do that. Get some of these wrinkles out of here, so that I have a nice clean surface, so I don't have any bubbles that might be hiding. Go. That looks pretty good. I feel like we're nice and smoothed out now. Okay, perfect. Hello, Meg. Hello, Mary. Okay, so we've got Santa layer 1, layer 2 labeled, and remember the little trick that I sometimes do. See if it works. Might not, because this side's bent a little bit. I kind of roll my finger down instead of trying to peel apart with my fingers, because sometimes I wind up ripping the backer paper that way. So always remove the carrier sheet, especially when it's a little bit bigger of a transfer. Remove it from, instead of the other way around, trying to flip it off in midair, and then it sticks to itself. So we don't want that to happen. Typically when we have a brand new transfer, I do fuzz it, but as I've mentioned before, when we are working with ink, I do not. I want to have a very nice tight seal between my transfer and the fabric that I'm putting it on, or plate or mug or what have you. But I definitely want that nice seal. Now I want to just grab this transfer again, because I'm really thinking, I have blue couches. I know blue's not very Christmassy, but I'm going to do Santa in top, and this is actually our 2-ounce jar. We don't have this color anymore, but it's very similar to like Storm, which is, we have Storm Couture ink. So, I think I just said chalk, and I didn't mean to say chalk. It's ink. Sometimes words come out of my mouth, and I don't even realize what I'm saying. So correct me if I say something wrong. I know the other night's project I kept saying Midnight Sky, and it was not Midnight Sky, it was Morning Sky chalk paste that I was working with. So feel free to correct me, because words just fly out and I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. So anyway, this is very similar to our Storm ink. These are our old 2-ounce jars, which I got right when ink came out, and I still have it, so I'm going to keep on using it. So what I was thinking was, if I do him in gray and then add a pop of blue to match my couch for the Joyful Christmas. So that's why I'm just kind of, let me just cut this out here so I can kind of play around and see if I can get the placement right. I'm just going to cut these guys out and hold them to the side. And let's cut out Joyful Christmas real quick, because I want to fool around with my layout. Okay, we don't need the first layer, we just want Joyful Christmas. So if I do, maybe if I do kind of, I'm thinking maybe if I go a little higher to the top of the pillow, centered, that's not centered at all. I just kind of eyeball. I don't never really measure things out properly, which I probably should. Okay, let's get that scooched over just a little bit. I feel like that's kind of similar. And then I can come down here and kind of at the bottom just go across. I think that's going to work perfectly. So I'm happy with where he's placed right now. So I'm going to go ahead and press down very firmly to, oh, I just put a bubble in there, to make sure I have that nice tight seal between my transfer and my canvas. I can bring my squeegee back into play here and get it even better. You hear that? How it's like that noise? If I stop talking, maybe you can hear it. Hold on. Hear that? That's kind of pulling out all those little bubbles, so that's why it's really good. If you hear that. Okay, I think I got all my bubbles out now. a little bit more up here. Okay. I feel like we're good now. Nice tight seal. I'm not feeling any bubbles in my transfer area. So let's grab this chalk ink, Couture ink, sorry, I almost said chalk paste again, but Couture ink. And we're gonna go ahead and just get this right on here. So I'm gonna use, I love this squeegee, which is it's our new small squeegee. And I like that it has a lot of room at the top for your fingers because I'm notorious for getting ink everywhere. So I feel like with this squeegee, it lessens my chance, so to speak, of getting ink everywhere. And you know what? I haven't used this in a bit. Now that I kind of put a ton on here, I'm going to take it back off for a second because I do just want to stir this real quick. Even though typically you don't need to stir your ink because it is a nice thin consistency, I do just want to make sure this is really good, which it is now. I felt like when I was pulling it out, I might have had a tiny little bump in there. So I just want to be sure. Okay, we're going to start that again. So I'm going to grab a decent amount. Remember, I can always put any excess back into my jar. And ink is a little bit more forgiving in that it doesn't dry nearly as fast as your paste does. So we do have a little bit more wiggle room as far as time goes working with ink. Now, I've heard a recent tip to work in one direction with ink, and that helps to avoid bleeding. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm literally just going to cover all up here and slide it right on down. One direction. Isn't that a band? One Direction? I think it is. I should know that. That's probably from like my generation, the 80s, right? Or 90s maybe? Not sure. I should definitely know that. I know it's a band. It's definitely a band. It's a boy band. Okay. All right. See how quick work that we made of that? Pulled it right on down. I'm going to grab another big chunk of my ink. And we're just going to keep rocking and rolling. And that, I put way too much on that one. I'm going to have a lot to put back on my jar. Okay, let's get that back in, and we're gonna do, whew, that was way too much ink. What was I thinking? I'm very messy. Okay, get all that excess back in there, and I'm gonna go one more time over just to make sure I've got all that excess off. Feel like that's pretty good. I'm not seeing any lines. Okay, I think I've got every little piece. I always try to go back in and make sure I don't miss like the very tip, because I'm famous for doing that, missing the very edge of the designs. Okay, I feel like we've got that nicely covered. I got a little ink on my finger, so I'm just dipping my hand right into my pan of water off to the side. I'm just checking to make sure. You definitely want to check to make sure you don't have any ink anywhere, because if you go to touch, that ink is going to go right in a spot where you do not want it. So hands look clear. I don't think I have any ink. Hello, Debbie. One Direction, they came out 2010. Okay, thank you. 2010. That's it. That's the ticket. Oh my goodness gracious. Do you guys see that? Do you see that? How awesome is he? Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I am plopping my transfer right into the pan of water that I have sitting off next to me. And let me grab another paper towel because my finger's wet again. They came out in 2010, so let me think. 2010. Oh my gosh, you know why? That's why I don't know them, because my son was born in 97. So let me think. 2010. Wow. Yeah, I definitely was not listening to that type of music at that time. So that's why. But I know I heard their name before. I just didn't really listen to them at that time. My granddaughter is, oh, she's in love with them. Okay, all right. I probably would like their music if I listened to it, because I like, especially to get me in a good mood, you know. Put on a little bit of pop dance kind of music. That always puts me in a great mood. I'm more the, I don't know, I guess you'd say like classic rock, maybe even a little bit harder rock like Breaking Benjamin and Disturbed, those kinds of groups. That's kind of my thing. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get this dried. Yay! He came out so cute. He looks so vintagey, doesn't he? I love that. Love it. Now I'm going to try to move my hair dryer around because I wound up ruining my mat, my other skinny mat, because I forgot to take my mat out and I started blow drying my project, and I guess I had it in one spot too long and I started to melt my mat, so I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. The reason I'm leaving the mat in is because I still want to put the Joyful Christmas on here. They had some good songs. My favorite is Night Changes. You know what? I love all music too, Debbie. I just kind of lean more towards the rock side of things, but definitely put me in a good mood. Put some pop dance music on. All the oldies. I love, one of my favorites is Pink. I love Pink. I think she's amazing. Okay, let's test this out. I love the gray too, Mary. So cute. This is still, I feel like it's still a little tacky. Yep, that's still a little tacky. I could feel, I don't want to put my fingerprint in there, so I'm not pressing too hard. Yes, when I'm clean, yep. You know what, and sometimes I'm a firm believer. I mean, I love all kinds of music, and except country, sorry. I'm not a country fan. Or like new rap. I don't like the newer rap. I like old school rap, like the 80s rap, but not the new stuff. But it definitely, if you're in like a down kind of mood, oh yeah, put some music on. That's awesome. It cheers you right up, or at least it cheers me right up. All right, I'm gonna hit this. You love her too? Oh my gosh, I love Pink. I've never seen her in concert, and I would love to see her in concert. But I have yet to get to see it. I was also kind of ticked off because one of my all-time favorites, Phil Collins, he was just here, and I missed him. I didn't get to see him. I saw him when maybe like the 80s, I think, when he still was with Genesis, and that was awesome concert. I saw like both nights I went to. I forget which concert it was. I think it was the Mama tour, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. It was the 80s. It was a long time ago, but he was awesome in concert. All right, I think, hello, Johnny. Yeah, I definitely believe music heals. It gets you right out of any little funk that you might be feeling, like if you're in a funky kind of mood, it definitely puts you in a better mood. I agree. Okay, so I'm going to grab, because I forgot to bring it over here. Where are you? I'm going to grab, because I said my, Kiss tickets for, oh, I love him, just brought my husband, oh, Kiss tickets, wow, that's a blast from the past. I've never seen Kiss. I knew way back in my former life, I knew somebody that loved Kiss, and he was a drummer, and he would play on his drums Kiss songs all the time, and dress up like him, like one of the, I can't remember if he would dress up like Ace, or who he dressed up like. I think it was Ace Frehley he would dress up as every Halloween. So I'm going to be using, like I said, my couch is blue, so I do have the Midnight Sky, I'm saying it right tonight, Midnight Sky Couture ink. Unlike the other night's project when I was using Morning Sky chalk paste. Whew, sometimes the words come out faster than my brain has time to comprehend. Okay, so I did not label this, so let's get to town labeling this. I'm talking about music and then I get sidetracked. And I'm a person who cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. So when I start talking and then I get distracted and don't realize what the heck I'm doing. R-I-S-T-M-A-S. There we go. Joyful Christmas is going on the bottom in Midnight Sky Couture ink. And we're just going to remove this. Again, now this one isn't a bigger one, so it is kind of okay to remove it like this. I'm not too concerned that it's going to stick on itself. And the reason I did it that way is because this is not dry yet, and I don't want this to accidentally touch my pillow. I get panicked around canvases or shirts or anything like that. I'm like always so like, oh, don't make any mistakes. So let's put this right here. I think that'll look good right there. Hopefully that'll look good there. Not really touching his beard. I'm not going to press too hard right there, just in case. Now, typically what I could have done, or not typically, I didn't mean to say typically, what I could have done was iron that to heat set it and then moved on to here, but I'm being lazy and I'm being live, so I'm trying to be quick and like not take up too much of your time tonight. So I'm just going to kind of hope that I don't wind up taking any of that gray off. I'm going to be very careful up there, not pushing down too hard. And then just get all these lines out of here like that. Oops, yeah, there's definitely a big bubble there. I need to press down a little harder right there. Okay. And I do think, and I agree, I think Jess told me this, that moving in one direction with the ink, there I go with one direction again, in one direction when you're putting the ink on definitely helps the bleeding. I've done a couple projects that way, and I've noticed a big difference. So I'm going to keep going with that. I'm going to move my squeegee just one direction. So again, we're using Midnight Sky Blue because, I mean, I would love to have done it in red, but it doesn't match my couch. So I'm just going to try to do this to match my couch. Plus, I love the blue and the gray together. I did a canvas of the rooster, and I did the same thing. I did gray and this midnight blue together, and it looks so pretty. I love it. Okay, we've got Christmas covered. And I probably should have pulled out my transfer that's sitting in the water bath right now because I'm running out of room in my water bath, and I have to take this off real quick and plop it in there too. Okay. I don't know if that's a shadow on there or if I didn't cover it. I think I got it. Almost done. Oops, I just broke my own rule and I went in the wrong direction. I forgot. See? You can't talk and do something at the same time. Alright, I think we got everything covered. Looks like all my letters are covered. Why does that look like it's got a little tiny... Let me just put a little more on there. Sometimes when you're looking, you can see where it looks like, oh, it maybe didn't go through the silk screen 100%. So take a second and just look before you peel off. Make sure you got everything covered. And then any excess right back in. This would match my couch perfectly. My couch is navy. Oh, there you go, Debbie. Perfect. Checking our hands again. Make sure I don't have any of that beautiful midnight sky on my hands. And we're going to remove the transfer, applying even pressure going straight across. Fingers crossed. Rip it like a Band-Aid. Here we go. Woo! Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I got to push down Santa here in my water bath because I don't want the Joyful Christmas to wind up sticking to my Santa. So I'm going to push him down to the bottom and then just lightly lay Joyful Christmas on top. Okay, because I don't want them. They're not going to stick because the Santa that I had in there is submerged in water. So once you have your transfer submerged in water, it loses its sticky. So you're okay. It's okay if they touch in the water. All right, I'm just going to throw my squeegee in there as well. Let me try to make some room. I'm going to close up my ink and we're going to dry this. And then, oh, thanks, Debbie. I love the way this came out. I like simple, classic, like it's vintagey to me. I could go in and add some pops of color if I wanted to. And psh, that's, you know, I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't know why I'm doing that. Add some cute little holly to his hat or put some holly down here. I want to keep it nice and simple and vintage looking. So that's how I'm going to leave it. That's just my preference. So let's dry this down here. just moving all around. I've noticed for me, and it may just because I'm extra cautious when I'm doing ink projects, but I've noticed if I try to take the mat out while it's still wet, I've had some boo-boos. So it's like, do I run the risk of warping my mat a little bit, or would I prefer to leave my mat in there and maybe warp it a little bit, but make sure that this is good and dry? I kind of tend to go that route, only because I don't want to mess it up. The heat looks perfect right now. I didn't get any ink on my fingers and touch anywhere. The lettering is so crisp and perfect. I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to take the chance, try to move my heat tool around a bit. So I'm not going to warp my mat, hopefully. But it definitely is recommended to take the mat out before you use your heat tool. I just get too nervous doing that. Let's move it up here for a little bit, take some of that off of there. Still feels slightly tacky, so I'm just going to start to lift this up now. Okay, now that I've got a little bit of heat to it, I am going to try, and I'm going to do the same way. Let me see if I can show you this. I'm not sure if it's going to come across on here. I'm going to, inside here, I am rolling my mat. So I'm just kind of, almost like I'm folding it onto itself. How I did to get it in here is kind of how I'm doing it to get it out of here. So I'm just kind of rolling it a little bit, like so. And you'll see what I mean when I pull it out. See how I kind of bent it in half, like that, to pull it out in there. And that seems to work pretty good, especially with that big mat. Okay, now I think if I put a little bit more heat to it, now that I don't have the mat under there, it should be good. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do, once I move these transfers off the floor so I don't accidentally step on them, is grab my iron. Now the final step with using your ink and your canvas pillow is to heat setting. Now, I'm going to just grab this because I actually, I'm trying to do this with two hands. Let's see, there we go. It's a glass mat under here, so I'm just going to remove that off my desk for a hot second while I'm ironing. And then I'm going to plug my iron in. Keep getting up and down my squeaky chair. Okay, let's plug this in. Okay, and then we're going to put this on a medium heat setting. Oh my gosh, there we go. Medium heat setting. And what we want to do, and if you have a heat press, perfect. It's going to make quick work of it for you. But I do not have one of those. One day soon, hopefully. But for right now, an iron works just as well. And this is what we need to make sure that we have. We need to make sure that we have parchment paper down on top. And typically, let me just make sure, I'm waiting for my iron to get going. I'm going to move my little traveling anchor here off to the side. I don't want to iron that by mistake. And we should be just about set to go. Now, when I first put my iron down, I typically don't move it. I just kind of set it for a second. I think it's, yep, it's good to go. I set it, pick up, and move down. Again, this is always me being overly cautious, because just in case it wasn't 100% dry under there, I'm not, you know, moving my iron all over and spreading the ink. So for the first go over, if you will, with my iron, I just place it and just try to heat set it like that first. And then once I've done that for a few, then I move it around. But you need to iron for 4 minutes on the front and 4 minutes on the back. And when you are ironing the inside, so you flip it inside out, I always put the parchment paper inside, because now that it's inside out, you don't want any of the ink just in case there's just a little tackiness to it. You don't want it to you know, come over onto the other side of your pillow. So I put the parchment paper inside at that point. So like I said, once I kind of go over it, I feel like now I can kind of start to move around. And especially because I'm on a desk, which is just a cheap desk, so I have to be careful with my iron that I don't burn my desk. Okay. So let's just say, yeah, because my desk is starting to get hot. So that avoided, by doing that, I feel like, I mean, and I could be completely wrong, but I just take that extra step just of not sliding it. And I didn't have any bleeding of any kind. So, and I feel like, you know, that feels pretty good. I do need to do it for a couple more minutes, but like I said, then flip it inside out. Parchment paper goes inside when you flip it inside out, and iron for 4 minutes on the back. I don't want to torture you guys with that. Watching me iron is like watching, you know, a pot of water boil. So I will let you go here at this point. But how cute did that come out? I love that. So simple, vintage Christmas, joyful Christmas. So thank you so much. And if you are not a designer, I would be thrilled if you would hit the little share button down there in the bottom left-hand corner of your mobile device. That would be amazing. And if you are interested, oh, thank you, Debbie. You have a fantastic night too. If you are interested in being in my VIP group, I would be happy to have you come into that group where I offer specials for Couture. Just type VIP below. And if you think you could make an amazing pillow like this, you saw how easy it was, just type join below, and I will be happy to reach out to you about becoming a designer with Couture, and I'll go over all the amazing perks. And that's about it. Thanks so much, guys. Have a fantastic night. Bye.